morning and welcome to The Point. It is Friday, October 23rd, 2020. Thank you to those of you joining us on the GBN Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11 and 20, and good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9. It is Open Line Friday here on the program where we give you, our viewers and listeners, an opportunity to call in or message us with anything that you think we need to be made aware of, information that you may want to share, or a situation that you just want to give your thoughts and opinions on. 435-2041, that's the landline number. That's also the WhatsApp number. Please, only written messages on WhatsApp. You can also message us on the GBN Grenada Broadcasting Network Facebook page and the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel. Let's go to our first call of the program. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, host.
Good morning, Ms. Jeremiah.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing very well.
All right. Go ahead.
Good. Yeah, last week we didn't have it, so I have to come back to it today. The Revelation chapter 2. We want to read of the church of Thyatira. And unto the angel of the church of Thyatira write, These things said the Son of God, who hath his eyes like unto a flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass. I know thy works, and charity, and service, and faith, and thy patience, and thy works, and the last to be more than the first. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, who calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. And I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. And I will kill her children with death, and all the churches will know that I am he which searcheth the reins and the hearts, and I will give unto every one of you according to your works. According to your works. But unto you I say, and unto the rest in Thyatira, as many as have not this doctrine, and which have not known the depths of Satan as they speak, I will put upon you none other burden. But that which ye have already, hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of the potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. And I will give him the morning star. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. Again, this is another example. So let us remember, those of us who profess Christ, we are part of the body of Christ. We are the church. And God is saying to us, look, I am looking. God is looking at the church. We cannot pretend to God. We cannot, we're so pretensive. But you can't pretend to God. And he says, I am looking. Because each one of the churches said, I know your works. I know all that you are doing. Nevertheless, notwithstanding. So he has something against. So we have to clean up. We have to check ourselves as people who know God, who profess to know God, and yield ourselves to the Spirit of God to show us where we are going wrong and turn so that God's mercy will be extended to us. He said, if they don't turn, he's going to bring them to the great tribulation.
Okay.
Right. Have a blessed weekend.
You too. Open Line Friday here on the program. Somebody's inquiring on the YouTube if there is any Thanksgiving service planned for October 25th. Honestly, I have not heard. I'm not saying that there isn't. I have not heard if there will be, when and where it is, if there is. So if there's anybody out there that knows if there is Thanksgiving service and where it will be and what time, please let me know so that I can share it with the folks who are interested in tuning in. If I find the information in the meantime, I'm going to browse the GIS Facebook page. I will share it with you, YouTuber. Back to the phone lines. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, my dear Blossom.
Morning.
Physically, mentally, spiritually okay?
Yes, everything is okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's nice to love, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mountain Nation. Akira, good morning. Now, there's some drivers in this country, vehicle drivers and motorists, flying like a plane with a Japan vehicle. I want to tell them young people and take them and drive, please. They have to be speeding on the way where people have no sidewalk to walk in the road. They're speeding and when they bongs, they crash and die, according to the motorists in the nation. There are some people coming in paddock when they come in, they want to bongs on the way on the sidewalk, they flying when they come in like a plane. They're on an airport strip, you know. Monjolo, I was up Monjolo yesterday and they're flying up in Monjolo. They are good and flying, young people. Why is so reckless driving? Nobody was so reckless. How many people bongs, they die inside it. It's paper bag, they're making car weight and plastic thing, they're making car weight for them. You have an engine to fly, but to fly something, man. Take your time and drive young people in this nation who just come around and feel they could drive better than the older people. Motorists take your time and drive in the God given road in Grenada. The cars what the Japan give you to fly with is paper until they make it better than plastic bag. When it bongs in mass ball, they will die in it. Take all the time and drive on the road, young people. Come on, they're driving reckless in the road. No sidewalk and they're flying. You don't have time to walk the street and all. Never see. Just come, people. Have a blessed day.
Thank you very much, caller. I am getting a little bit of information on the Thanksgiving service. I will share it with you after this caller. Good morning, caller. Good morning.
Morning, Blossom.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How you do?
Fine, thank you.
All right, go ahead.
The Thanksgiving service is on Sunday at the Grenada Trade Center at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Thank you very much. I was just waiting on the theme to finish sharing the information. Thank you very much, caller. The Thanksgiving service takes place this Sunday. It will be held at the Grenada Trade Center from 3 p.m. I will get the theme for you, and please keep in mind that those of you attending, that the COVID-19 protocols are in effect. Good morning, caller.
Hello, good morning, and how are you?
I'm good. How you do?
Fine, thanks.
All right.
I want to make a contribution in relation to the police. I'm not a police officer, and I'm not anti-police. I have a sister, and I've had relatives who are members of the police force. I think it calls for a parliamentary inquiry. 1, 2, when the police does something wrong, the police should not be given the legitimacy to investigate the police. And I'm saying this in recent times, the shooting in Guelph, the shooting in Fontenoy. A police officer cannot be trigger happy. Policing calls for intelligence, it calls for tolerance, it calls for wisdom. The police should not be operating as gangsters. Many years ago in Perseverance, a Rastaman, and this comes from the radio station that was part of the police report, was fleeing. The police was pursuing him. He was shot. He died in the road. Nothing happened. Look at the question of the Oscar Bartholomew case. What happened still to that? The police investigating the police. Not too long ago, a young guy from Dabo was arrested and in police custody, right? He was said to have been found hanging in his cell. Who investigated that? The police investigate that. I do understand it's difficult to deal with some civilians. I understand the bitterness, the anger, and some of it is unnecessary. I am not supporting disrespect for the police. I am not supporting violence against the police. I think what needs to be done, first of all, people need to be screened. We have too many brainless people as police officers with the people's gun or tax money by the weapon. And you should not be eager to use it, especially in a situation that is not justified. Disproportionate force is wrong. It's immoral. It's illegal. And I think that in Parliament, perhaps we should advocate that as the masses. We need an independent body outside of the police to investigate the police whenever they commit crime against the population. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, caller. And somebody on YouTube is co-signing what you said. We need an independence commission to investigate the police, just like it is done in Jamaica. I have also heard that call from a few people. Police investigating police may not be the best idea. In relation to the Thanksgiving service, which will be held on Sunday, 3 p.m. Trade Center, it will be held under the theme Giving God Thanks for New Beginning. And if you do not want to attend, or you cannot, you can join the service. It will be carried on the GIS Facebook page as well as GIS TV channel 22. That's the Thanksgiving ecumenical service on Sunday, God willing. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Blossom.
Morning.
And how are you this morning?
I'm good. How you do?
Well, thank God for life, you know.
Amen.
Without life, we are nothing.
True.
I have concern, Blossom, and I talk about it on many occasions. It's concerning our medical station at Monkridge Medical Station. It closed down for over 2 years now. Blossom, you know the situation now. If we have to go to a medical station, we either go to the complex at Sotters or at Hermitage. It's forceful for the people of Monkridge, Monktool, even Snell Hall. If you don't have $1 today, how could you make it? But with the medical station in Monkridge, according to your situation, how sick you is or whatsoever, you could take a walk to go there. A calling on the Minister of Health and those who are in authority to come and investigate our medical station. We need it, and we need it badly. Elderly people around the area, if they don't have the money, if they don't have somebody to carry them, it's very forceful. Please, Mr. Minister, that is about the 6th time a crying out fight. Come and help out the situation of our medical station at Monkridge Medical Station. That is the name of the medical station. In days gone by, we had nurse living there, doctors, all class. And now we haven't got nothing. Come on. We need it. We need it bad. I know at once, our parliamentary representative, they had done some work on the roof. I don't know what is the situation now, but we need it. Blossom, you have a blessed weekend and take care of yourself.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you. You take care of yourself as well. And I recall this is not your first plea for the reopening of the medical station. So hopefully the powers that be are once again hearing your plea for the reopening of that medical station. Let me quickly browse through the social media before I go back to the landline. All right. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, boss. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good.
Yeah, well, I'm good as well.
Nice.
Boss, something that bothers me for a little while now. The nurses, and I think when I talk, a lot of people will say, yes, that's quite true. I noticed, well, for a long time it's been bothering me. The nurses leave home with a uniform. They go to work. They leave work with a uniform and they travel on the public transport and they go back home. I think that should stop because they are leaving the hospital with all germs and whatever it is. I don't know what germs, but you know what's going on today. I personally think you should go home, live with the normal clothes, leave the uniform at work, change, work, evening time, change, put on the ordinary clothes on. Because they travel on the buses. I mean, I see this week, I know the guy quite well. He's a male nurse. When I see the man walking up the road in his white clothes, I swear he's the Governor General, all white. His uniform, I mean, how could that be? You come from work, I mean, a lot of people put me on that. This is the only country I see it happen, not in England. In England, there has a cape. They walk with a cloak, but there has a cape covering the whole garment, so you're not exposed. But down here, no, I don't really want to show them off, but down here, nurses traveling on the buses, walking tongue, all about, with a uniform. That's not right, because, I mean, you know what's in the air. And I personally think the government should really, our minister here should look into it. Thank you, my dear. Have a good day.
Thank you, caller. You do the same. I recall doing an interview with, I believe it was the top position at the hospital. I can't remember the exact title, Dr. McIntosh, as well as another health official, I believe in the Ministry of Health, and they said the nurses and doctors are advised against wearing their nursing uniform in public, whether they're heading to work, because they're taking the germs from the bus into the facility, and when you're heading home from taking the germs from the facility to the public transportation. I am not sure if it is a rule or just an advice. I am not certain about that, but I know there are some nurses who take the rule into consideration and do change their clothes going to and from work. I guess not all of them are following that piece of advice, unfortunately. Let me scroll. Somebody on Facebook says, kudos to the caller on the police situation. I share the same sentiment. There should be more stringent screening for people applying to be police officers. Down with Coco Police. Yes, Masha, I remember her name. I just don't remember the exact title at the hospital. Director at the hospital? Head of hospital services? Can't remember the exact title. I remember her name, Dr. McIntosh. Let me go back to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Morning.
I look at it. Most normal persons like or they love themselves. So that is why people are scared of viruses and perhaps germs. At the same time, because they don't want to die, I'm asking myself, if we are so scared of, I don't know the difference between germs and viruses, so I just mentioned germs and viruses. I don't know if they are the same, or one bigger than the other. One could be seen with the naked eyes. You might be able to see more because you don't have no naked eyes. You have glasses in front of you. So I don't know if that's what they meant. Now, I look at things that if in Grenada, we're talking about opening up the place for tourism. And if you're so scared of dying, why do you have to go around people that come from away? You want to go around the white people? In other words, stay away from the beach when you know they come in. And this, if I don't even go on beach when I see plenty people, because it scared me. I do not know what germs, although you all say the salt kills all germs. I don't know how true it is. No, this is what bothers me. The government just tell you what is happening. Don't talk about what they're doing. You want money. We want the money. I'm sure you want the money too. Otherwise, you're out of work. So I don't work. So I don't so much want it. But I still have to survive by it. So what people have to do is to stay away where they feel they will be contaminated. I know it's a big word, contaminated. Well, they would catch the germs or the virus. That's what I meant. So I don't see I'm not bothering about people coming in large numbers. In fact, what I want the official people to see, to be constant in the appeal to people. Don't change from day to day. Think of what they're about to say, what they're about to do before they do it. Consider it in the mind, in the head, in the brain, or whatever they have. So this is what people have to do. Not to do things at random and have to change every day. Thank you very much. That's my concern. Something is wrong with us.
Thank you very much, caller, for your contribution. Somebody on YouTube. Not only that, and this comment is in relation to the concern about the nurses wearing their uniforms in public on their way to and from work. Not only that, they should be given private transportation from the hospital to home. Let me go back to Facebook and WhatsApp before I go back to the phone line. Somebody on WhatsApp. Not only Mountwich Medical Station, Mount Morris and others. And if someone calls and complains about the situation, they are considered counter, and one of the supporting members will call and curse you out. Another WhatsApper says, I strongly agree with the caller. Nurses' uniform should be worn on the hospital's compound. That should be made mandatory. And another WhatsApper says, nurses and health workers all over the world wear their uniforms on public transportation. Why the big cry down? Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Citizen Welsh. Greetings.
Morning,
Couple
Citizen
of things here. One of your callers there previously spoke on issues related to the police. I share his views. I complimented on the way he put it. In fact, that should not continue. But rather unfortunate, however, that it will be extremely difficult if we do not reconstitute this here country. I mean reconstitute it with a new constitution, because the existing system in effect is designed, and pay attention to this, because they talk about it and they ridicule it. Of course it was a demonic system, the Third Reich. The Third Reich under Adolf Hitler established the Waffen-SS, the Waffenschutzstaffel. We must have heard about the SS. We have one in the Caribbean too, you know, but that one is the RSS. Schutzstaff, Praetorian Guard, to protect the aristocracy. They don't care about the people. You see, the system is the same because it's designed from historical monarchic systems, where the aristocracy, and unfortunately we have a aristocratic aristocracy in the Caribbean and in Grenada here. But the system is the same. Until we demolish that system and put a police service into place and not a police force, this will continue. I fully agree with it. The police can't be investigating the police. Listen, this here country, they treated me so badly in St. George's. The police lift me up in St. George's and throw me on the pavement. Hurt my back and all that. They investigated us, every see no problem. A policeman chucked me on Young Street in the middle of the road. He damaged my cane, he hurt my side. They said they see no wrong in what he's doing. That has to stop in this country. But the only way we can do that is to get rid of this colonial system that exists here. Reconstitute the nation. Understand it, brothers and sisters. I fully support you. But the only way we can change it is for us to understand that the basic and foundational law of this here country has to change prior to any changes in that. There was something else I wanted to mention, but I would not abuse. We'll speak about it another time. Thank you very much and have a nice day, will you?
Thank you, Citizen Ruler. You enjoy your day as well and have a good weekend. Let me scroll. Let me make sure before we go. Let me read one comment on the WhatsApp before we go to the break. Somebody on WhatsApp says, nurses should change before leaving work, but there is no place to change as those facilities were removed when this present building was constructed. There is presently no facility for nurses to change. Someone may argue use the bathroom, but then again, they can't wash off their skin. They're just changing clothes, but the germ's still on their hands. Okay. All right. Somebody else on WhatsApp says, I am in Toronto and the nurses are not allowed to wear their uniform on the streets. All right. And somebody else says, it does not mean because it is done in other countries, it must be done in Grenada. Years ago in the UK, nurses could not have worn their uniform outside of the hospital's compound. And that's where we will take the break for now. This is To The Point, Open Line Friday on Classic and GBN. We'll be right back.
Hello, I am Godfrey Augustine. March 13th, 1979 to October 25th, 1983, a relatively short period during which Grenada experienced a series of events that significantly changed the course of our history and culture. A coup d'etat that toppled a democratically elected government, a first in the English-speaking Caribbean. A people's revolution that laid the foundation for an international airport completed in 1984. A people's revolution that provided significant educational and housing opportunities for its supporters. A people's revolution that used the propaganda rather than performance to promote the leaders. A people's revolution that incarcerated and tortured anyone accused of being a counter. A people's revolution seeking ideological purity that murdered its leaders and self-destructed. Join We Culture on Friday, October 23rd at 8 p.m. as we review the events that led to the horror on October 19th and the liberation on October 25th, 1983. See you then.
National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, reminds the general public to always be prepared. Make sure you have emergency supplies stocked away just in case. Here is a list to help you and your family. At least 1 gallon of water daily per person for 7 to 10 days. Enough food for at least 3 to 7 days. Non-perishable packaged or canned food and juices. Special items and food for babies and the elderly. Non-electric can opener. Cooking tools and fuel. Paper plates, plastic utensils, paper cups, trash bags and duct tape, useful for cleanup or patching leaks in an emergency, blankets, pillows, first aid kit, medicines, prescription drugs, toiletries, hygiene items, moisture wipes, tarpaulin to cover holes if needed, bleach, water purification tablets, flashlight with extra batteries, battery-operated radio, cash, small bills. Banks and ATMs may not be open or available for extended periods. Keys to house and cars, toys, books and games. Important document in a waterproof container or watertight resealable plastic bag. Up-to-date insurance, medical records, bank account numbers. Keep important phone numbers here. You may know them, but a loved one may not. A pocket knife, nails, a hammer and a rope are important elements. Towels and buckets are useful too if you develop a leak. Vehicle fuel, keep tanks filled.
A message from the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA.
Welcome back to Open Line Friday on To The Point. Let's go right back to the phone lines. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Blossom.
Morning.
I want to applaud the person, the gentleman who called in connection with the nurses wearing their uniforms on the street, on the buses, and wherever they're in the market, everywhere, right? That's unhealthy, and I think the people who ought to hear this should hear this and put some stop to it. That's point one, right? The second one is the humps or bumps or death traps or whatever names you want to call them, right? I know that they could be helpful, but we have to look at it on both sides. If we want to do it, whoever is responsible too must maintain it. I was coming along from St. George's to Grenville today's Friday, on Wednesday evening into Wednesday night. And coming along all coming along Fort Judy, Wester Hall area, coming up this way, right? Those humps. They are not marked. They are not marked. In the dark of night, you just heave over it. Now, the roads are not only intended for the Grenadian nationals who know the road. We are saying that we're open to tourists. They are traps. I see it all the time. And I think that the authorities, they can beg for paint. I'm sure some of these agents will donate paints because I know they donate paints. They can beg for some paint and paint these humps or bumps or whatever they're supposed to be. Paint them. There's even one coming down by the Catholic Church Gap in Grenville on the Gladstone Road. It has always been there, right? But recently, like they did some work there, and I don't know on whose instructions, like the road workers just made a mountain. They made a mountain. You have to think about people's vehicle. Parts for vehicles are very expensive, right? And nobody bothers. Nobody sees it. I'm sure the policemen go over them all the time. And somebody have to see for little people like us that don't have a voice, right? These things are supposed to be maintained before and after. I'm no driver, but before and after, simple common sense tell me there's supposed to be a marking which can be seen from afar that you're approaching one of those things. There are a few with them, but there are lots of them without. And when you get there, all you know, you heave over.
Okay.
That's all. You just heave over. And I'm sure the authority is supposed to be seeing those things. That's on the main road. That's not on byways.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much, caller. Concern noted with especially the humps as well. I remember my aunt one time, like you say, heaving over the hump. And that was her comment. They should really paint these things. Good morning, Aunt Angela. Somebody on WhatsApp says, we have a new up-to-date facility at the hospital complex, but nowhere to park. Please find a way to accommodate hospital workers plus visitors parking. I second that. Every time I go to the hospital, I say the same thing. I don't understand why there isn't accommodations made for parking. The shuttle is not something you can always depend on, especially when you want to go whatever time. And staff fighting for park, much less for visitors, especially during visiting hours. And you can't park here, you can't park there. There's a clamp in the one piece of concrete road that was a little bit wide to accommodate us. No parking at all. I mean, good morning, caller.
Good morning, Auntie Blossom.
Good morning, Miss Jacob. How you do?
I'm fine, Auntie Blossom, and I hope my mommy's fine too.
Yes, she is.
You know, in my days, Auntie Blossom, let me tell you something. In my days, you know where the old hospital was, and then where the new one is on top was the for the nurses. Nurses hospital, how they call it, to change their clothes, who want to sleep, especially those that thing in the night. It had a hostel for them. And they didn't used to walk the road with their clothes. When they're going to walk, they go in the hostel and they change their clothes. When they're coming out from work, they take a shower, they put on their clothes and they go home. I don't know what's happening now, and you think he's getting good, he wouldn't get good. Because the Bible tells you, in days to come, there's a lot of sign. We don't start to see sign yet, no? Much less for wonders. So we have to think some of those nurses and them, they must stop. Perhaps they don't have place to change their clothes. So they go home with their clothes. But that is not right. When you go to work in the hostel, you're supposed to change your clothes to see about the patient. And when you don't see about the patient now, you go and you have a bath. That's what I know before. In Uncle Gary days, that's how I know it. So I don't know what's happening now. And about something are getting good here. The cycle, he go from cycle to cycle because watch. Our lad used to do a lot of good things. What do they do? And they sell him for 30 pieces of silver. Well, the 30 pieces of silver still raining. So you understand me, Auntie Blossom? Well, you and my wonderful, beautiful, handsome mommy going to have a wonderful weekend. And Auntie Blossom, you give mommy that kiss for me.
Will do, Miss Jacob. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You have a good one too. God bless you. Love you, darling. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Jacob. Let me scroll through. Somebody on WhatsApp says, last Wednesday, Last Wednesday on Release It, there were two gentlemen who called concerning the General Hospital. One, there's no sanitizer in the emergency waiting area to sanitize your hands. And two, the oxygen tank not in operation. Surgery has to be cancelled because no oxygen in there, and many other issues, mechanical not functioning. When we were hearing all these things about the General Hospital, brings thrills to know if your chills to know if your family is sick and have to be brought to the General Hospital. After 2 years, the oxygen machine been broken down, and thank God the U.S. medical ship crew fixed it in a couple hours, and we had it down for 2 long years. Our hospital needs serious attention, not just cleaning around the hospital, but fixing the oxygen tank and other mechanical equipment that need replacing. And in this COVID trying times, the hospitals need to have a sanitizing station going in and out. Good morning, caller.
Good morning to you.
Morning.
And let me say good morning to Grenada. I support the caller, the two callers that spoke about the police having to examine themselves or try themselves. I don't think it is right. I support that the police should have a independent committee to try the police when the police is wrong in something or is suspected to be wrong. I said that before. I don't believe in the police trying the police. So that, I think, should be looked into. In the case with the gentleman that got shot recently, based on what we see on the news, I don't have any facts directly, but based on what we see on the news, there was no need if the gentleman was running away to shoot him behind his back. They could have been avoided. If you don't know the person, you see the person running away. They could have get some information from somebody there, because he was running away, and what he said, that is a weed he had. So I think better judgment needs to be taken there. If it was a thief, and he running, based on what he had, I would have still say yes, get him how you could. But in terms of he was running because he's smoking a weed, I think the police didn't use judgment there. Let's hope that the best comes out. And I do not believe what Mr. Rolo said, that he was knocked down by a police and the police said they see nothing in that. No way. I don't believe that one. While I think that the police need to have somebody else to try them, I don't believe that Mr. Rolo will be knocked down and people see or know that he knocked down, and for the police to try him and say there's nothing in that. Cannot be. In terms of the health centers, there are some health centers that in a dilapidated condition are want to repair, and yes, the government has to make, sometimes you have to, it's between a hard decision to make to close down a health center where you know that it's going to cost people more to go, but to keep it occupied and when it's in a deteriorated position. What may happen is government have to have persons supervising these things and make sure that you nip it in the bud. Because the same money you're spending to do a liquor repair, you have to spend more than that when it comes to dilapidated. So perhaps government have to have more control on the health centers, and not only health centers, government buildings for when they become dilapidated to do repairs on it. But we have to take some inconvenience at time because it's better to get it done properly than to go in there and cause a hazard to people.
Okay.
So it's a serious thing for government, but government has to step up on that responsibility.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, caller. Let me scroll through. Somebody on WhatsApp says we need the Ministry of Education. No, start from the top. My issue is this: the Wester Hall Secondary Form 5 class is without an English teacher. The teacher they had from Form 4 is currently at home because she was a replacement for someone who went to college and her time has expired. We need the Ministry of Education to give us back Miss Smith or assign another teacher ASAP. The children have already lost a lot of time due to the virus. We can't afford for them to be without a teacher at this time. I call the Ministry of Education. They promised to get back to me. To date, no one has. Regards, a concerned parent. I guess I can co-sign that because at one of the all-girls school, the Form 5 does not have a math teacher. And they sit in exam, CSEC exam next year, please the Lord. So, and we're talking English and math, which have been made compulsory subjects for Form 5 students, well, for secondary school students, and they don't have teachers. Yeah, good plan, man. Big up all yourself on that one, innit? Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Blossom.
Morning.
All right. I just want to give a little topic on the vending and packing situation in St. George's and probably most parishes in Grenada. At the moment, I hope somebody from the Ministry of Trade or whatever could go to see what happens and observe what happens in the stadium car park on a Friday and a Saturday. And will obviously let them see that we need some way, like a flea market area, constructed for people to do vending and whatever else business they want to do closer to the stadium. Because at the end of the stadium, if there is an event at a certain time, it means then that the vending will be an obstruction. I think personally, and this is my view, and I'm sure other people might share that view, they can look into the situation, even though it's for not the permanent, but a long-term situation, let's say outside the fish market. Keep about 20 feet or 30 feet away from where the guys who go out and do the fishing and come back in so they have access to get in to drop off the catch. And they can do probably 80 or 100 feet backfilling. We have enough stone and tip and mud to backfill out, and then right up to the roundabout. And that area, you could create a proper vending area and car park area for everything that may be happening around the town at the moment. You will get rid of the people who vending around the town. If you say anybody who has to do vending, they do the vending. They properly secured, good infrastructure in place in terms of facilities. And one of the most important things should go in there that who goes there to vend, they could pay a small fee, but when you leave with everything you came with. You understand? And I believe at the end of the day, the problem with the parking in the town and the problem with the vending in the town will be a situation where the government themselves. I used to be a vendor in the 70s and the 80s, coming backward and forward from the UK. And I'm proud to be a vendor because not every vendor end up being a no good or some people look down on vendors. But people who vending, and we feel you want small entrepreneurs, that's an ideal area or time or some sort of a approach you can take in order to be probably one of Grenada's biggest and richest entrepreneur in Grenada. Okay. Like Grenadians to become entrepreneurs, we have to provide facilities for them so that they can, when they start at a young stage and develop and come into something later on in life. So that's just my point. With the parking area, you have a serious problem because if you park anyway, the ticket you or the clamp you. So we first provide a parking area for people to park at a small fee, and you also provide a proper vending area that everybody wants to vend. You go in that area. Okay. Then you get rid of all the issues we have right now going around town.
All right.
And probably most of the parishes in Grenada.
Thank you very much. In relation to possibly putting them at the fish market area, the Ministry of Works and Implementation have started the effort to actually remove vendors from that area. Just, if not Sunday gone, the one before, they started a cleanup of the area with the intention of relocating or moving them from that area. I hopefully, with the construction work that recently took place at the St. George's Market, we could accommodate more of these vendors, that we can put them at the St. George's Market. Hopefully is the operative word here. And in relation to the stadium, I never thought about having to close up shop if there's an event in the afternoon or so on. So I guess that is probably a concern. But in getting to encourage people to go to the facility, just last weekend, the ministry or government announced that they are facilitating or providing free transportation to and from the the vendors market at the stadium. So maybe hopefully with the provision of the transport, we can get more people in and out of the market in the morning, just in case they may have to shut or close up shop by the afternoon if there's an event. Somebody on YouTube says nurses should not wear uniform outside due to infection control. A WhatsApper says, we Grenadians complain too much. The police should lay back and let them do what they want. It's like it's changed to the nation of complainers. Look at the market again. It is back to the old tables again, dirty again. Do all your work. If you're all too old or only looking for confusion and fighting with a cleaner, then go home. Another WhatsApper says, workers have no way to change, no table to eat, especially the maids. That's at the General Hospital. They treat them like nothing. The new PS, I hope she looks into these things. If we don't clean, nothing done. The administration fail us. We are hoping for better mention with the new ministers. Blessed day. Hospital is in a mess. Workers have no respect for supervisors. A lot need to change about the hand sanitizers. A lot needs to change about the hand sanitizers. That's not true. Good morning, caller.
Citizen Welsh, I beg your permission for a minute.
1 minute.
Two things. Briefly, I wish to tell the gentleman there that you can accuse John Roll, who called him, he doesn't believe. You can accuse John Roll of anything else in this here country, but as a thief and a liar, no, senor. On the 19th of December 2012, I was lifted by a group of police, headed by a police officer, Douglas, and thrown on the ground in front of the Grenada pharmacy where I damaged my back. The reference is there, and Sylvan McIntyre knows about it. They investigated and found nothing wrong. So don't call me a liar. The other thing is this. Someone called and spoke of the hostel back then in Gary. Time was on a hill. No, he was down by the sea because I spent time there. He was down by the sea. That is a lie. And apart from that, nurses never bathed and sun prior to leaving work. And no. Nurses always went home. And it's sad to know that today, under these different circumstances, that they haven't changed yet. I'd like to see it change, of course, but no. That one is a lie, too. You see why it's a lie? Have a nice day with your Citizen Welsh.
Thank you very much, Citizen Rolo. Enjoy your day as well. Yes, the hostel was down closer to the sea area in the back of what would be that pediatrics and gynae wards. That was the direction or the location of the hostel back then. Don't ask me how I know that. Somebody on Facebook says, we've been hearing about the shooting of civilians and police, and it goes back to proper training in the RGPF, especially the two cast shooting, which souls result in what we call common sense. And in those shootings, only one name always coming up, who involved in these shootings lately, which will ask the questions, why this person still a member of the RGPF? Shouldn't he be out by now? I think there should be psychological evolution of those who will be joining the RGPF, evaluation of those who will be joining the RGPF, and I am advocating for the RGPF to start wearing body cam to avoid all these senseless shootings and to have community service or relations between police and the community. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Blossom. How are you today?
I'm good. How you doing?
Okay. Number one, Blossom, what I'm looking forward to see the government do soon. All buildings should have a number like how the Green Lake number the poles. Long time ago, all buildings had numbers. So if you're looking for a building, you know directly how to find it. Sometimes visitors come here and they're looking for buildings and they cannot find it. Sometimes they have to go there and ask this person, where is that person living, and all those kind of things. But if they number the building, you don't have to ask because you know directly where all the buildings number from A to Z in all different parts of the island. So you know directly where the numbers is. And number two, painting the streets. Mostly countries don't use policemen for that, you know. You have people only for that, you know. Go around and paint streets, paint the hump, paint, you know, the crossings and all those things from one part to the other. That's their job. They should have people to do those things straight. Not you have to look for police route and you can't paint and so on. That should be a job for some people. Okay? Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, caller. That's when we had more of a community spirit and more organizations willing to take up the responsibility. You don't find that often outside of maybe the bus associations who would paint a a bus stop here and a hump there. We don't really have much community spirit around the island. Somebody on Facebook is asking, I ask through you, is there a ministry which deals with the environment? If so, how is it that a mechanic, garage or car wash can be built on a riverbank? Where is the used oils, etc. going? What happens to the fish in the water and the water itself? Yes, there is a ministry of the environment. I believe it was part of the Ministry of Agriculture at one point, I believe it was. And there is currently the Ministry of Climate Change, which falls under the Prime Minister's ministry. It depends on who's given them permission to build a garage, if they sought permission. That's the next thing. Somebody on WhatsApp says, I have a concern in my area. There are many tall trees and that are a threat to my house. I spoke to the owner several times, but nothing was done. Could you tell me where I could seek further help? Trimming of trees, maybe the Ministry of Agriculture and or the Ministry of Works. You can probably seek legal assistance if you have the right to trim the pieces of the tree that are over your property. Maybe try one of the ministries and or a legal mind, maybe legal aid and counseling, or a lawyer if you have a friend, so they won't charge you for the consultation. Another WhatsApper says, think, my people, if the intentions of the government is a genuine one to decriminalize marijuana, we should see it in the response strategy of law enforcement. What do you think? I beg to differ, WhatsApper. Government's intention, if that's their intention to decriminalize marijuana, it's still illegal in the meantime, and the police has responsibility to control and eradicate the use and supply of it locally. So until then, the police still have their duties to carry out until it is decriminalized and or legalized. So I beg to differ a little bit. Good morning, caller.
Yes, Blossom, just allow me a minute to
1 minute.
Lend my voice to the people who speak about the nurses and the clothing. I think when I was a child growing up, nurses, you never see a nurse walk the street with their clothes. They change in the hostel. If they want to work early in the morning, they sleep in the hostel at night. So in the morning they go. You don't see them on the bus. But I noticed for about the last 10 years or so, you find, they come out, they're not even supposed to come out from the hospital and come into the public with the same clothes, because you don't know what you pick up in the hospital and then going in. You don't know what you're bringing in. So I think there should be some provision so that nurses could have a place to change their clothing before they go on the wards and after they leave the wards. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Somebody on WhatsApp says, come WhatsApp, work with a sister. There we go. Why are you charging someone to use the toilet? Visitors who sit on relatives' beds should stop. They carry germs too. I agree, and I know the nurses would tell you, get up off of the bed. But some people still take the chance and take a little rest the knees on the bed. Somebody else on WhatsApp says, is the mindset of the people that cause them to do as they think. My mom was a nurse at the General Hospital for more than 24 years. She never one day carried her work clothes on her in the street except on the job. When she died and the nurses came to the funeral, scores of people wanted to know why so many nurses turned out for the funeral and were in uniform. The scores of people that were asking the question. They did not know she was a nurse simply because she never carried on her uniform in the street. So when they never saw her in the street, she was a civilian clothing, but she was a nurse in white with broadband. Another WhatsApper says, the situation with the Ministry of Education and replacement of teachers is ridiculous. We have already lost so much time, especially with the Form 5s who are going to be writing exams in the next few months. A number of schools are without teachers. Step up, Ministry of Education. Parents are calling on schools to find out what is going on. The truth is they need to call the ministry. Let me read the final comment. Grenada is now a police state. It is so ridiculous that a young Grenadian is shot. His life could have been taken for a God-given herb. Such a shame. I know the struggle of that family. The father is dedicated to his children. My heart feels some of the pain. And final comment, somebody says, of the recent police-involved shooting, the young man in Guav, who is a footballer, was shot in his foot. The young man that was shot earlier this week is a swimmer, and he was shot in his arm. What is really going on? 10 question marks. On that note, we are going to end this morning's program here. Thank you so much for participating once again in open phone line here on To The Point. Appreciate your listenership, viewership, and participation. And that's the end of my time today. I'll be back with you on Tuesday, God willing. Remember, we have a long weekend ahead. October 25th, the ecumenical service takes place at the Grenada Trade Center from 3 p.m. under the theme, Giving God Thanks for New Beginnings. If you cannot attend, then you can follow the proceedings on GIS Facebook and GIS TV. Thank you once again. Joseph is up next with Mid-Morning Buzz. Have yourselves a safe, productive Friday and an enjoyable weekend.